Hi guys, welcome to Counterpoints. My name is Connor. I'm a science fiction, political, and philosophy nerd, a Marine Corps and law enforcement veteran, a never Trump Republican, and I love the alternative media and online politics, even though it's very bad for me. You might notice the red beard. Somebody donated. I made it red. I actually like it a lot. What we're going to be looking at, we're going to be watching a little bit of Destiny and Hasan Piker talking about Hasan Piker doxing everybody who worked with Progressive Victory. But realistically, we're going to be using it as a launch point in order to talk about the Doxxing War. Let's go.
Hunter Avalon, Hutch, Destiny.
Yeah, nice. Just full-on docs, addresses and everything. Not on stream, by the way. Also, you Twitch. What a disgusting organization.
I don't know what to say, man. I mean, like, I reported the VOD. The VOD is still up.
This structure is designed to hide the nefarious activities.
The 527 registered political action committees whose FEC filings have to all be made publicly as you sit here and you dox every single person in my orbit was done to hide all of it. It's like not even consistent through a single sentence. If there's anybody that's actually interested, I would pay an hourly fee. If somebody wanted to scrub this, there might be a couple other ones, and just go for it and file a defamation thing on him.
You look up Progressive Victory PAC, you go to disbursements, and you click on other disbursements. $1.3 million spent.
Okay.
So you increase the amount of results per page and search the page for advertising services. And
by the way, just as a heads up, which is why I have no moral consideration for Hasan, don't give a f about him or anything, anybody involving any of these people, okay? And Ethan and anybody else that gets mad when I say this. This is just a full dox of every single person. I mean, like, I call it a dox, it's publicly available. This is just a doxing every single person in my community. There's no reason to be looking all of this up on stream. There's no reason for Hasan to be watching and look all of it up on stream, other than the fact that Hasan also likes to dox people that have been around me. But good one.
The biggest payments on here, because most of these payments are like $500 paid to canvases and stuff. Some of the biggest payments on here went to like people in Destiny's orbit for God knows what. These are like relatively small.
Ooh, I'm so happy I get to address this. I'm so happy I get to address this. If I was streaming full time, this is what I would have done. This is what I would have done if I had the wherewithal, if I had the time to do it. This is what I would have done. Okay, so let's go ahead and break this down. This is my understanding of the model. It should not be taken as like an accurate description of the model from like PV's perspective. It should not be taken as like every creator that's ever worked with PV agrees with my understanding of the organization. However, this is, excuse me. This is my understanding of the way that it worked, so to speak. And actually, what's so funny, I have to draw a line in the center. This is so funny. Everyone who's talking about this, everybody who was talking about this is such a fucking piece of shit. Because they seriously, they just don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and they're talking shit about probably one of the most necessary political models to figure out, regardless of whether or not it's PV. You could destroy swap out PV for anything else. Put TPUSA, put Daily Wire, put anything. Okay, put anything up here that's like a political organization that has a bent. If they're conservative, if they're democratic, if they're whatever, right? And so there was the creator program, and there was the canvassing operations, okay? And so with the creator program in admin, okay, so, and I'm just gonna go ahead and describe it as I see fit. I think part of the problem is that nobody involved in the 2024 election cycle is willing to defend it because they don't want to catch shit from everybody. So I'm just going to describe it as it is. Give me shit, okay? Dox me. Don't dox me, and don't come to my house. But if you come to my house, you know what's up, right? Like, I carry that thing on me. You know what I'm saying? Kyla, Straighter Aid, and Pixie. And then I forget who was over here. It was a really nice guy. He's gonna hate me. He's gonna hate me for not remembering his name. He has a really cool name, but it's like a very generic white guy name. So it's not Walter, but I'm just gonna put like Walter / Frank / Harry. I don't remember the guy's name, but there was a guy over here for canvassing operations. Okay. And so this is, sorry, I'm going to duplicate label it admin. This is canvassing ops. And then this was the creator program. Now, what's interesting about the creator program is that Destiny and Vosh were the two biggest people. And I think the interesting thing about it is that they didn't take any, despite being probably the engine behind whatever success PV can claim, which is like 1.6 million voter contacts over the course of a year and a half. I think Vosh also fundraised like 250K for fundraised 250K for PV. But I would say Destiny was easily 80%. I'll be a little bit more conservative. 70% of canvassing ops. Let me see. How do I get this small enough? Yeah, there we go. And then there's everybody else. And I agree with the creator program kind of being not well articulated, and not only not well articulated, but also kind of like funky, where like they were paying too much money for not enough deliverable. I agree with that. But let's say we had this. All right. Anyways. So let's say a lot of people criticize Xander Hall, but he was a part of the PV program, obviously. He's probably one of the most often critiqued creators because a lot of people didn't see him as somebody who was capable of delivering a lot of deliverables. Wick was also somebody who was criticized a lot because of his size. So a lot of people didn't think that he was worth paying. Hunter Avalon, weirdly enough, I think actually would be somebody worth paying. However, he wasn't able to capitalize on his original 500,000 subs because he effectively bled 90% of his audience in order to shift to the left. And then I'll put humble old me right there. And then if anybody else can remember any of the other creators who helped out with PV, I don't know. So if you guys like remember a name that was dropped, like I know old Lycan was dropped. Let's do another one. Lycan. Who's another person? Hutch. I'm trying to think of who else I hung out with. Lonerbox. And Lonerbox is fucking excellent. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, I wouldn't give two shit. I would work with Lonerbox in a fucking heartbeat. And it's not just because of his like size or whatever. It's also because he's just genuinely like a good, insightful, smart guy. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so I fuck that. Fuck everyone who was talking shit about this. Seriously, I'm getting pissed off. I understand that I'm just like drawing the maps right now, so it's maybe not as entertaining as me actually talking about the concept. But I genuinely fucking hate everybody who's talking shit about this, because regardless of whether or not it's PV, call it Democrat victory, call it coalition victory. Yeah, let's replace this up here. the Connor, the Counterpoints coalition, or well, actually, it shouldn't be named after me, right? Coalition Democrats and Republicans victory. Let's say hypothetically we could like just do a pack, like our own cute little pack up here of actual people who give a shit about the Republic of the United States who want to save it. And I'll put an eraser up here, that way it's like not people aren't mistaking this for like a real thing. But if I could recreate this business model, I would deploy the capital resources differently, but I would still try to replicate it. Give me a second. All right, boom. And so, canvassing ops. We had, at minimum, oh, interesting. I think it, that's interesting. Okay. Sorry, I'm almost done, I promise. But we had two things for canvassing operations. The canvassing houses allegedly were like disproportionately, wildly effective. So if you want the exact details, but canvassing houses paid for room and board of, I don't know, like 50, 30, I'll go humble. 20 to 50 volunteers to canvass every day for the general election in swing states, along with local ballot initiatives which apparently was like massively successful. Then three canvassing events, 40K doors knocked per event, 300 volunteers per event. Local initiatives and general election. So anyways, the whole point of this, I don't even know if I need to draw anything, but the whole point of this was to, there's hundreds of thousands of people from Twitch and YouTube politics who are wildly passionate about politics. And the whole point of paying these creators or whatever money for consultation, for talking points on current events, for, you know, what do you think we should talk about this way, that way, the other way, that like meeting that we were getting paid for in order to show up weekly to talk about politics was to figure out how to motivate our communities, our digital communities, which are cumulatively representative of, I don't know, probably, what would you say, like a quarter million, and then everybody else is going to be small, like 200, a few thousand, 1,000, a few thousand, a few hundred, a few thousand, a few thousand. But the whole point of this was to motivate almost 500,000 people to get ready for the general election and to involve themselves in canvassing operations, either as volunteers for the canvassing houses or as volunteers for the canvassing events. And the canvassing events, I think, were like wildly, you know, we can poo-poo on the numbers and people can be like, well, it wasn't enough to change the election. That's a fucking stupid metric. 1.6 million voter contacts. But the point is that there were 1.6 million voters who were contacts. I need to, fuck it. We don't need to spell correctly. This is Microsoft Paint. But the point is, well, we should. the point is, you can shit on this number if you want. 1.6 million voter contacts. But how many people did you guys contact? Right? Like, we're all living in the shithole of a Trump administration. We're all living with, 3 to 15 million people dead internationally because of the Trump administration. We're all living with him basically greenlighting Israel to glass Gaza. We're living with him, deporting skilled South Korean visa holders because they didn't have the right visa in order to work in a battery factory in Georgia that's worth like billions of dollars. We're all living through the tariffs. So how many people did you guys contact? Right? Because if the answer isn't 1.6 million, I don't give a fuck. This is 1.6 million voter contacts more than you had. Now, of course, like, people can say that this number is fluffed up because it's a voicemail, or it's a piece of paper left on somebody's doorstep, or it's a 5-minute conversation between some fucking hippie that might actually encourage people to vote for the other side. But the point is that they actually tried. Okay? PV, for all that you can hate Sam, the head of PV, you can hate Walter Frank or Harry or whatever the fuck his name was from the head of, like, or one of the major volunteers for canvassing operations. You can hate him. You can hate all the logistics people and the volunteers that actually made the events happen. You can think that you would have done better, you would have done it different, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I agree that they put a lot of money into the creator program, and I think they were trying to create like PV Spotlight, which was like a channel that was gonna create like PV related content to try to motivate the base. But the truth is that, like, it just didn't take off. And it's because when you have a channel that has too many creators on it, it just doesn't work. There's like Midas Touch, which has a bunch of creators on it, but they all follow the same formula. And the truth is that all of these creators don't follow the same formula. And as a result, like, PV Spotlight just never took off. But PV Spotlight was supposed to be the like YouTube propagandistic arm to motivate people within this thing to show up for the canvassing operations. So my question to you, chat, is what's the fucking problem? This is genuinely my question. What's the fucking problem? I'm a never Trump Republican. If the Republican Party returned to some level of sanity, and there was a social conservative who was mildly economically redistributivist, who, excuse me, Conor. I'll just leave it big because I love myself. So I'm a never Trump Republican. Hunter Avallone is a conservative that turned Democrat liberal and has random progressive hot takes that fucking suck. Wick has been a Democrat his whole life. Xander Hall's been a socialist, sock dem Democrat his entire life. Lycan is a Democrat progressive, sometimes a leftist. Hutch is a Democrat. Lonerbox is a progressive. Destiny didn't take any money from PV, and he provided 70% of the labor that went into these operations. And then Vosh fundraised $250,000 for PV. And then also he did one of the canvassing events and probably contributed a few volunteers. What's the fucking problem? And the only reason why IRI is here is because I think IRI might have taken a few paychecks from PV, but ultimately he was like, hey, I'll work with you guys and I'll go to a few events, but I actually don't need the money and don't want the money. He wanted to be more independent than everybody else. So I'll ask you, what's the fucking problem? Let me go ahead and bring this down. And I'm going to leave my Doobie quote up here because I want to chronologically read chat, but I want to ask you what the fucking problem is. So Dylan was in there. Lonerbox, yes. Hitler, true. Loner, so cool. Josiah, I think Josiah was in there too. Loner is Josiah before he got big, by the way, and Josiah got big. Can't make a picture out of a pint, although I guess Josiah did get big around the same time. So I don't know the exact chronology, so don't hold me to that. New viewership says that's just direct viewership and the ripple effects of those people then contributing to talking to people they know. Success rate, paid influencers, imagine where that can go, and those who would aim to utilize it have from some orbit. True. Simon Simple, I will agree. Did I lose my chat? I might have to reload this because I think I'm missing like half of chat. Hey Connor, where have you been? Dead. That was earlier. I died last week. What was the PV tweet? I get wanting to distance themselves from Destiny, but why throw Brianna Wu under the bus? Because she's a fucking Zio shill now. Can somebody type in chat just so I know that I still have a chat loaded? Because I think I have a dead chat. Nope. No. I think I'm still live. Sacred Snow says Dylan Burns got burned too, but yeah, exactly. Okay. So anyways, so you guys get it. And I don't see any fucking problems. I don't see any problems from chat. So I'm going to scroll back up. Thank you for the super chats, by the way. I promise I will get to you. But let me go ahead and scroll back up to Doobie. And let's keep moving. So effectively, Bad Empanada used the FEC filings. And Hasan platformed this to, I don't know, 20,000, 30,000 live viewers and probably 250,000 post-recorded video viewers. He fucking showed them the names and addresses of all these creators. Why?
Streamers who clearly have no real pull, and paying them for advertising services is fucking insane, given that they have no pull. What's
it's like
That was literally me on screen, Lympheo.
Hunter Avalon. There's like a lot of orbiters. There's a dude who is literally Destiny's chef.
That's like
he used to sometimes appear on his videos named Lycan, who is just his chef apparently, and he gets paid there as well. And it's just like,
Not for being my chef, not for anything related to me.
there is no, what is this? Wait, they paid out creators directly through the pack. Are they stupid? I think so. That's it.
You think so? Do you have any idea what you're looking at? Do you know what this website is? Do you know what it tracks? Do you know what anything says? Can you read? What do you think this is?
Yeah. Dylan Burns, Hunter Avalon, Hutch, Destiny.
Yeah, nice. Just full on docs, addresses and everything. Not on stream, by the way. Also, you Twitch. What a disgusting organization. And that Dan Clancy dude, too. Nice one. Good one. No punishments, no given, no care in the world for the Turk over here to just sit here and that's a good one. Good one, guys.
His own personal chef. Like this is
Yep, keep scrolling.
what happened. This
nice.
is what took place.
Nice. Oh, look. Oh,
And
good
the
job.
pack
Yeah, you
actually
got him.
did,
Nice. Yep.
unironically raise a bunch of money off of like people who thought that they were giving money to a political action committee that was going to go around and do door knocking campus operations, which they did.
Oh, good save, dumbass.
But then also turned around. But also,
It's first of all, I don't. What is he? Is he implying that we didn't do anything, or what is he? Does he think the money was just for
enormous magnitude
For fucking jerking each other off.
of what has been accomplished? We've just been tabulating the numbers, and they're massive. So we're talking about 1.6 million total voter contacts this year.
Boom. You can say it's just voicemails. You can say that it's just paper little flyers. You can say that it's door knocking between some dirty, unwashed hippie and a local resident. But at the same time, what's the fucking problem?
Damn.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. 340,000 doors knocked, and that especially
340,000 doors knocked. Fuck, dude, fuck Hasan Piker. Fuck Bad Empanada. Fuck these lefty pieces of shit. I'm serious. They're one of your biggest political liabilities. And then this is probably cumulative between the two, right? So if we assumed real quick that each event got 50,000 doors knocked, let's just go ahead and round down and say that this was 150,000 doors knocked. 140,000 doors knocked. And this was 200,000 doors knocked, because I think each event was around 50,000 doors. 200,000 doors knocked. Again, what was Hasan's on the ground operation? What did he do?
is DGG related. I mean, we had a lot of people come from a lot of different communities to do stuff, including our relevant who's on stream. I saw IRI on earlier. You all have recruited a lot of people too, but the door knocking has come almost exclusively from DGG. And 250,000 of those 340,000 doors came from the Campus House program. Again, the vast majority of those members were DGGers.
Wow,
And,
really?
yeah, and so
My number's lost. He's saying 250,000 came from the door knockers, but you know, I think it's irrelevant. The point is that a shitload of people had their doors knocked.
many of those voter contacts, like they wouldn't actually have happened at all.
Is it just like, but then after they do that, they run home to cook meals for me, I guess?
Also turned around and basically created this like pay structure for a bunch of Destiny's friends.
Dollars? That's more than his entire YouTube channel makes in like 2 months, I guarantee you. So you search for advertising aside from Hunter Avalon, someone who it makes no sense to be paid $3,000 for advertising because he has no pull whatsoever. We have like aka Loanerbox, who is
Nice. Yeah, first and last name. Nice. Can we get his address on screen too? Can we get that as well?
British being paid for digital advertising services by an American super PAC. He kissed Destiny's ring. He did Zionist propaganda.
Problem. So this is what I don't understand. So I do understand to the degree that you can say like, oh, Loanerbox is a foreign asset in order to encourage Americans to make their decisions about politics. I understand principally, ideologically, you can get pissed off, right? You could be like, foreign people shouldn't be involved in American political commentary. But they are all the fucking time. John Oliver's a Brit. I'm sure that he gets plenty of shit. Mehdi Hasan is from wherever the fuck he's from, and he does American political commentary because American politics affect the rest of the fucking world. If the United States goes down, then the Commonwealth also suffers. Europe suffers, Africa suffers, everywhere suffers. When the main fucking America cuts off $10 billion of international aid and there's 70% of international aid funding, that's a fucking problem for a lot of people. When the United States goes from a position of, we are going to back our allies militarily, and if there's something serious that kicks off, we're going to intervene militarily, and then we just stop intervening, that's a fucking problem for the world. So why wouldn't the world care? Why wouldn't they, comment on the situation? Why wouldn't Loanerbox, who probably has a disproportionate American audience, appeal to his American audience and say, hey, I'm going to go to an event in Ohio. If you want to meet up and if you want to volunteer in order to knock doors for 2 or 3 days, I'm going to be there. We can take a picture together. Why is that not a perfectly valid use of political money, clout, and influence? I don't understand these fucking people.
That he got paid for it to the tune of $2,000. We have Hutch.
That's nice. Docs his full name. Good one.
The COD YouTuber.
Yeah, like these guys get like, they have no
Nice.
no
Pause.
viewership.
Good. Pause on all the names. Thank you so much. I actually hate Ethan so much. I'm so triggered that he got mad at me for calling out Hasan on this. Not that it matters. It's not. I hate this so much. God. If Trump makes it, okay. Trump, there's one thing you can do to win my vote. Yeah, there's a couple things you can do to win my vote. Okay. Please, Trump.
Is it denaturalizing and deporting Hasan Piker? That would be one thing that Trump could be like, I don't care about 14 million dead people. Fuck Hasan Piker.
There's no
Come through.
real justification.
All right, I'm gonna check in with chat because I've already done a beautiful drawing and I'm pissed off. My wife says, please stop it with the F-bombs. So if my wife can hear my F-bombs in the other channel, or in the other room, then maybe I should slow down on the F-bombs. Doobie says, why would using an AI during a debate be an indication of bad faith? Yeah, Doobie, I agree. So that's in reference to Rob Noor debate that we'll watch later. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't care. I think that you can say that it's lazy. I think you can say that it's not coming up with your own critical thinking, but apparently it's becoming more commonplace. I don't think I'm really going to use AI because I trust AI to be like 70 to 80% correct, but they always get like one detail off that's actually pertinent to the argumentation. So I wouldn't trust AI. Also, AI, when you ask it a prompt that's bent towards a point that you're trying to make, the AI will bend itself to try to help you make that point. And I think that's too much bias. Like if you're going to be biased, you should come up with your own biases, right? Tico Suave says, Connor, when are you going to get display models to paint up that back shelf? I'd love to see some knights or demons back there. Well, I mean, me too. So super chat. but we have 3,000 points of Death Watch. It's just in the upper parts of the shelves. So if you want me to fill up those shelves, then you got to give me some super chats, bro. Can't just be paying bills. If you want me to buy, hundreds of dollars of Warhammer models, and you want me to paint them, I need time. I need money. But thank you for asking. Well, QC John says, good morning, Girl Hottest. Good to see you returning from the dead, Connor. Also, football is back. Watch my Colts win first season opener in 11 seasons. A lot of beer wings and yelling at the TV. Fantastic, bro. Fantastic, bro. Thank you for being here. Conservatism says, making it usable was in regards to the focus issue. It's all over the place, as you noted. True. No, please let him be. Still got PTSD from Destiny Blue Hair. All right. Gotcha. Jonah Zilla says, I kind of want to see blue hair and red beard now. That'd be fun. Prime is absolutely not anti-Semitic. He just hates Israel like any other reasonable person. Oh, man. Doobie's going to start fist fighting my Jewish audience. Matthew Mendoza says, no, I think you may be getting too close to what makes the autofocus trip up. The contrast of your red beard, maybe doing something as well. All right, well, it is what it is. So, Grassroots says, I'll out-corrupt Doobie's anti-Semitic dork money with my philo-Semitic money. Thank you. I appreciate that. Officer Nasty says, are people still mad at Rob for using AI like 6 months ago? I thought NSE did that like 2 months ago and we didn't care. I didn't care about it 6 months ago. I did not care about it at all. I think it's cheap. I think it's a cheap move, but I don't care about that. We should be arguing about the points. Regardless of whether or not the source is AI, we should be arguing about whether or not the information is correct, right? McDevin says, oh my God, the red beard doesn't look bad at all. It looks less ridiculous than Steven's blue hair. Good. All right. You guys play nice. Play nice. You're being too mean to Doobie. Grassroots says, Sitch and Adam are rich as hell, and they have the same 1,500 live viewers for 6 years. Peace be upon them. Based. All right. Sorry, last one. I remember when JStock was 100 viewer Andy before he went off the deep end, and overall they've always been there for D-man content. I mean, I agree. All right, let's continue.
For like tapping into these dudes and giving them like $3,000 or $1,000 or even $500 to just like go to an event and sit there and talk about how great the Democratic Party is. It's just like
This guy's saying that's so little though. No way. Damn, they're cheap whores. Wait, so are they cheap? Is it a lot of money? What is it?
Unless it is actually created to just like pay out your friends. You go around.
Paul for 15 pounds says, I hope you recover soon. Adding to the Gnome Hat Fund. Thank you, brother.
And you do fundraisers from all these people that are like, oh yeah, I want the Democrats to win. I'm going to fundraise for it. Right? And then
Doobie says, Destiny, whoa, crazy to think Hasan would dox people using demonstrably false bullshit to justify it. Can't think of anyone else who does that. We must acknowledge that doxing is bad and Steven should stop doxing. And if that sounds sarcastic, it's not. I actually think it's bad and he should fucking stop.
And and then all that happens in the process is that you just end up paying a bunch of dudes that are friends with like Brianna Wu and
sorry, real quick. QQ says, are you deciding if PV is good or bad based on whether or not Sam wrote those nasty tweets throwing Destiny under the bus? No, I'm going to like Samdra's Mala just fine, regardless of whether or not he has some cringe leftist progressives working for him. Let's go ahead and pull that up real quick because I think that's relevant. So let me pull up my Twitter over here. That way, if somebody retweets pornography onto my timeline, then I cannot be held accountable for it. I follow for follow, by the way. Somebody said like, oh, Connor follows all these like gross accounts. And I'm like, yeah, I follow for follow. So if you're like a weird porn bot and you follow my profile, I spam refollowing people. And then if I see something cringe retweeted onto my timeline, then I either mute or unfollow, depending on what the progressive victory. You follow each other. Okay, I gotta play nice. We follow each other. Who we are, join us at blah, blah, blah. To be clear, we have never been a Zionist organization. This is them dealing with Hasan's bullshit, by the way. That like these most recent tweets. And you can argue that they're too far left. I agree that they're too far left. However, look at this. What is this? The vice president of the United States hanging out with somebody related to BV. I have no idea who this guy is, but it's true. Oh yeah, here's a PV volunteer. Oh, he's so handsome. Look how handsome he is. Look how fucking handsome he is. And even though and look at him, he's canvassing for local bullshit. Look, then I thought this was going to be me because I met her like 2 or 3 times at the canvassing event, and I met him for sure. I think we actually hung out and we talked for a while. I don't recognize these fellows, but it doesn't mean that I didn't meet them. Anyways, so I need to find the thread. I think this is the one. It was our PAX FEC filing that inadvertently doxed Dylan Burns and other creators we worked with last year. Creators who use our FEC filing as a source are not at fault. We are a digital third place with a volunteer electoral organization sprinkled on top. Our goal is to become infamous for being the Democrats' greatest threat in the primary, but their greatest ally in the general. You have to understand, everybody who's giving me shit for saying like, oh, you're just working with all these people down ballot. You understand that they almost exclusively talk to me about the general election, right? Whenever we talked about guns, I would be like, you Democrats are dumb on guns. And they would be like, hi. And they would either say, yes, we understand that because we are far further left than brunch wine mom Democrats, or they would say, no, we are brunch wine mom Democrats, therefore we guns are bad. You know what I'm saying? Our leadership is and I would push them on other stuff too. I push them on abortion, I push them on gun control, I push them on everything that came up that was remotely like outside of my bounds. I pushed them on in meetings, and I said, this is why your rhetoric doesn't work. This is what a conservative would think if you went with that line of argumentation. So my feedback was almost exclusively from like a center-right conservative perspective. My efforts were to help in the general as a lesser of two evils calculus. And in the primaries, we talked about it. We thought about stuff. Our leadership is Sam Drismala, these people, Ben, and Jenny something, and make many more volunteers. PV hired Brianna Wu in a contract position in 2023, when we were new in the space and trying to make contact with creators. We cut ties with Brianna in December, and for good reason. See, this is where I feel like you didn't have to say for good reason. You know what I'm saying? You could have said, we separated with Brianna in December of 2023 due to differences in vision. That's how you would articulate that, like, hey, we're not like a Zionist organization, and Brianna and us don't like align on certain values. That's how you would say it professionally. For good reason feels like you're like, oh yeah, all the harassment that Brianna Wu suffers for being a Zio shill, that's justified. Actually, go ahead. As for Destiny, last year, our media program consisted of trying to unite the audiences of as many political creators as possible in order to get them to cross over onto each other's content and advertise PV's organizing program. Nothing wrong there. What we quickly discovered is that most creators have very little desire to do either. With that, we scuttled our media program after the election and have not continued to mix liberal creators with our leftist values. Brother, right here. This is right here where I have to say, like, I feel like this is an edgy intern or volunteer. I don't think this is Sam, but that's okay. It's okay. If they don't want to work with liberals, they don't have to work with liberals. That's fine. And if they're like out and out leftists that don't want to work with liberals, that's fine. But you have to understand the vibe was totally different last year. The vibe was 70% of the people working for PV were liberals. Progressive victory this year with stronger community leadership. We have doubled down on the things that we are best at, building our community and helping to elect candidates that they chose to support. Below, we have attached our revised mission statement published just prior to this drama unfolding. As you can see, our core organizing strategy is committed to replacing centrist Dems with real progressives. Does that sound like either Brianna Wu or Destiny? So again, they're throwing Brianna and Destiny under the bus. One final note: scrutinize us, criticize us, love us, hate us, cut us out if you like. Call us out if you like, but our community is not Zionist. We back Mondami and we will back many more like him. You'll just have to let our future actions speak for themselves. So this is, to me, this is a horrible strategy. I'm not, if Sam wants to talk at some point, we can talk. But I think this is stupid. I think they basically just threw the liberals under the bus in order to show off their like left-wing progressive bona fides. So I consider myself a part of the people that they're talking about, where they're like, we're not going to ally with centrists anymore. We're not going to ally with Destiny anymore. We're not going to ally with Brianna Wu anymore. It's like, all right, well, good for you, I guess, but that just means that you're shrinking your camp. That's okay. That's fine. If they want to go in a different direction, they should go in a different direction. So the thing that prompted me looking up this tweet was QQ saying, are you deciding if PV is good or bad based on whether or not Sam wrote those nasty tweets throwing Destiny Wu under the bus? No. Sam and I, we've had passionate arguments about politics before. We've had excellent conversations. Sam genuinely believes he's trying to do the right thing. Every meeting that I've met him in, every time that I've seen him talk about politics, every time I've seen him interact with a volunteer, every time I've seen him organize an event, every time I've seen him giving a speech, we disagree on politics, okay? We disagree on how big the welfare state should be. We disagree on drug policy. We disagree on probably abortion. We might even disagree on gun control. I have no fucking idea. But we both believe, I think, in the Republic of the United States, and we want to make the Republic of the United States better. So that's like the one value that Sam and I completely align on.
Destiny.
Look, where did the majority of this PAC's money even come from? I don't even think the majority came from fundraising, did it? Didn't they get funded from their 501c4 or whatever the I don't know if somebody has the link to it.
In the business, we call these scam packs. Usually their main method is buying a text or email list and just massing contribution asks to grassroots donors with some.
McDevin says, you were involved with PV. How do you avoid getting doxxed? I don't think anybody cares about me, to be honest. But if they do care about me, if they do find my docs, just know I keep that thing on me. You come in person and you start harassing me and my family, I'll do whatever I need to do.
Generic line like stop Donald Trump, etc. People definitely fall for it, and it also severely harms the wider fundraising ecosystem. It actually really frustrates professionals who do this for genuine good reasons.
Yes,
I don't know
all the door knocking campaigning stuff that Hasan goes out and does. Good one.
If this was,
why is Hunter Avalon getting money?
Starhawk says, welcome back, brother. Listening from Serbia. I'm visiting a wedding. For your information, Balkan women are insanely good looking. I believe it. Starhawks, are you Acreon on Discord? I'm not trying to like Discord dox you or whatever, but we have another Discord member who's from Serbia, if it's not you.
From a progressive PAC. Isn't that dude super right wing? Bro, how's this guy's information out of date by like 10 years? Didn't Hunter Avalon switch in like 2017 or something? Holy shit. Explain to me honestly, how do viewers fall for this? All they do is shit on the Dems, which should obviously aid in the Republicans to win. How do they not think they are at fault for that? Because they're not doing politics. I keep getting upset at this because I'm analyzing this from like a political power perspective, but they're here for like social games. This is like social club games for them. Again, this is like me. This is like somebody stands up and they punch somebody on a chess game. And I'm saying like, well, you're not supposed to do that in chess. And then they stand up and they, stab somebody and you're like, this isn't how like bishops are supposed to move. And then they stand up and they, take a shit on the board, and it's like that's not illegal. Like I'm complaining about a thing. The only frustrating thing though is that they say they're playing chess. It's like, oh, actually, this is how chess is played. That's the only frustrating thing is they wear politic and they wear whatever this shit is supposed to be. They wear this as an aesthetic when in reality this is all just like social signaling. Like start and stop is social signaling. That's all it is.
I agree with
if
Steven.
Progressive Voice or progressive Progressive Victory? Sorry, not Progressive Voice. Progressive Victory was set up with honest intention from the start, or and then it just like kind of turned into this like idiotic thing.
Like, what is he? He's like he acts like he's got all this back end information.
Fuck you, Hasan. What have you done, you dipshit?
Yeah, he has like what he's alleging like some grand conspiracy here. What I like barely had any involvement to even do with PV. Like I was never even directly. I never even get paid by these guys. What the fuck? And they also campaigned for some people that I was kind of irritated for. Right? There was the Bowman thing. There was something else where I was like, well, Jesus, whatever.
Okay, it turned into this like slush fund for the besties, right? Of a sex pest or
molestiny.
If it always was supposed to be this way. And then it got led astray. I don't
like. Why would I have some other dudes come in for the guys that worked with PV and founded people? Why would I have them do this if I was just slush funding for my own, I guess, friends supposedly? Why wouldn't I just raise the money myself? Why can't I just raise the money for my own community? I've done that in the past.
Right.
I did that in the past with my past canvassing stuff. Why wouldn't I just keep doing that? It doesn't even make sense. Why would I go through all this bullshit and then have the FEC filings? So this degenerate, subhuman, nepo, beard graying with the retreating hairline or whatever, to have this guy come on here and just dox every single person that's been near me, right? Like, why would I go through all this when I could just continue to slush fund it the way I did in the past? It doesn't even make sense. Like, his own story doesn't make any sense.
No, but I do know that they actively tried to work with me as well on numerous occasions, and I didn't work with them.
Why does he love this word active so much? Do you notice he says like actively so much? Like, he's actively always in the most and actively capacities, actively always saying this stuff. Where when he's actively streaming, he goes on and he actively talks. What the fuck does this word mean? Actively, my guess is PD probably reached out to a ton of influencers and asked if they wanted to do events. Oh, actively, as opposed to what, passively wanted to work with? That doesn't make any sense. Well, this is the dumbest adjective I've ever heard in my entire life.
Work with me as well on numerous occasions. And I didn't work with them for this reason, because I was like, there's no way. Like, I've seen some of the people that you guys have worked with. I'm not interested.
No, you probably didn't want to do it because the money probably wasn't enough, because this guy probably charges big 5 figures at least for appearances. And then
that's the other thing too. I think the biggest influencers, I think IRI, to my knowledge, IRI, Vosh, and Destiny did not take money from PV. They just volunteered their audiences for political canvassing. And listen, I've been talking shit about Vosh. Absolutely. I feel like he's gotten lazy. I feel like he's gotten into his Fortress arc. I feel like he's doing the same lazy, tired talking points. I feel like he has no introspection. I feel like he has very limited critical thinking. I think he just like wakes up and throws slop out to the masses so he can collect his $200 for passing go. Like that's my perception of his content. However, he does have a large audience, and he did volunteer that audience in order to do canvassing operations. He did volunteer that audience in order to do fundraising. So we have to call out the good with the bad. So what has Hasan Piker done? He basically talked shit about the Democrats the entire election cycle. But at the last second, he was like, maybe they're the lesser of two evil. Vote how you want to vote. I'm not going to tell you how I'm voting. Thanks, Hasan. You fuck. Ooh, okay. My wife asked me to stop using profanity. Anyways, checking in with my chat. Quick show. I'm going to go ahead and thank Paul, Starhawks, and Just Carpet for your donations. Then I'm going to scroll up and say, Melody says, also look like our farmers are going to need to get bailed out again, so we were going deeper in the hole. It happens. Turi Guyano says, why is Bad Empanada an Australian commenting on American politics? Exactly. And Canadians, true. Webbius Zoo says, not so erudite as Canadian considering the current situation. She was doing Canadians a favor, I guess. What's really insane is Republicans do this and it's not an issue at all. Yeah, no, I have not heard any similar Republican complaints for Republican propaganda. You understand. You understand that Charlie Kirk is beating the absolute dog shit out of this model, right? This is what pisses me off. I'm actually going to shout out PV Progressive Victory 2024 structure. I'm actually going to shout out, I think they need to change their name from Unfuck America to Unf America, because I think it rubs boomers wrong. I've seen them introduce themselves. This is just some feedback to Z and Chris. I want to say it's Chris. I have his text message. So Chris, if I got your name wrong, my apologies. But Chris and Z, I would change it from Unfuck America to Unf America and the national ground game. But there's the Charlie Kirk model, which we already know works because Charlie Kirk has a massive reach. He has like a college chapter on almost every college campus. Charlie Kirk, TPUSA. And Charlie Kirk is not a good content creator, by the way. He is so mid. His political analysis is such garbage. Like when I watched his content, his debate content is just hot dog water. And so actually what I would say, I wouldn't even divide this up. I would say what Charlie Kirk did is he just branched out to 1 billion college campuses, and he effectively piggybacked off of the college Republicans, but then he put them under the TPUSA brand. And he said, we are politically motivated. We are going to do canvassing and volunteer operations. We're going to do debates, and we are going to get you hooked up with alt media creators, and we're going to get you hooked up with the mainstream news. We're going to get you hooked up with powerful people, et cetera, et cetera. And so as a result, we'll bring you the content. You bring us the volunteers, which I actually think is probably a brilliant model, because then you don't have to go through creators in order to get access to the volunteers. So, but what he did first, in my opinion, is he created, college. Then he went to a university. I actually don't know the difference between a college and a university. I really don't. University, and then he just copied paste that over and over again, right? College. Then can I move this? I can. College. Sorry, this is like a predictable map that I'm making. And then let me copy the university. So Zico and Sanchez is the person running National Ground Game, and she wants to replicate this model. God bless her. And she says, at least I've talked to her, she says that she's a logistics person. She's not like, she doesn't want to be a creator. Charlie Kirk is a creator and a logistics person. Okay. And so that's where Z needs clouded up. She doesn't need me. I'll go if she says, hey, we got enough money to start doing a college tour to do debates, and we actually like the cut of your jib. You need to come out and debate people on behalf of the Democrats. Then I'll be like, okay, as long as you are okay with me identifying the way that I identify, and as long as you're okay with me basically saying that the Democrats are lesser of two evils, I'll be your Huckleberry, right? I'll be your Huckleberry. But what she really needs is she needs Stephen to stop having sex dramas and to keep his dick in his pants. No offense, Stephen, I love you, but if we were to do this idea, you would need to keep your dick in your pants, relatively speaking. And so what she really needs is she needs Stephen, in my opinion. Or a character like Stephen, in order to become the debate bro that goes around to colleges and universities and sets up debate events and engages young people and sets up the chapters in order to set up these various TPUSA chapters, but instead it would be National Ground Game chapters. And then at that point, Z could be the, excuse me, save TPUSA model. And then let's save this as the National Ground Game. So, dude, if you guys know any billionaires, this is what Zico and Sanchez and National Ground Game wants to do. So you gotta, the Democrats are a decade behind. So I just keep calling her Cohen Sanchez because that's how she identifies on social media. But Zico and Sanchez, National Ground Game / unf America. So, dude, if I had $1 billion, I would cut off Z $1 million. You know what I'm saying? So Z wants to replicate the models, but since she's not a creator, she needs a creator that can do the events. So I'm just going to put creator because the truth is that Steven might be too controversial in order to fill this role. I know Z wants him to fill the role. I know I want him to fill the role, but that is where it remains to be seen if Steven is too toxic in order to do it. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I think that he could be, but again, like the things. I'm just gonna be real. I'm just gonna be real, man. The things like the food shop stuff. This is what prevents me from wholeheartedly endorsing Steven to be this creator. Because the optics, I understand that nobody's calling him out right now. Like nobody's really yelling at him right now. But the truth is that you're talking about taking a 30-year-old man and you're talking about bringing him to a bunch of college campuses with a lot of young women who are all adults. Let's be real. They can make adult decisions. But you already have these accusations of like improper behavior and emotional abuse and all this bullshit. And then you're platforming food shops. And I know food shops can feel like she's catching strays. You can feel like, oh, you know, why are you coming after me? I didn't do anything. But yeah, food shops, seriously, if food shops watches this clip or whatever, you know what you can do? You can just disavow Lolicon. Seriously. It's the easiest thing for you to do is just to say, yep, adults should only sexually interact with adults and they should only fantasize about sexually interacting with adults. Easiest way. And if you don't agree with that, then you don't agree with that. But I'm going to call you out and I'm going to say that you're toxic. Like Steven's toxic for his own brand. Food Shops is toxic for his brand. So the fact that he's engaging with that, I think, is mind-numbingly stupid. But I've said that to his face. I said that to his face. So that's all I can do. So the question is this Steven or is this Pisco? Or is this Josiah? Or is this Hutch? Or is this IRI? Or is this, I don't know, somebody else? But until Steven unfucks his shit, that job slot is going to remain open.
And two, he would never work with any liberal or progressive org. It only is like tanky Marxist shit. That's why.
Because that's insane. It shows me at the very least that you guys are not making the right decisions. You know what I mean? Like you're just not making. There's people within the leadership structure that are very clearly making idiotic choices.
Like if it's a PAC that's paying my friends, then why would they try to work with you? You see how it's always like a lose-lose.
True.
No matter what it is, there's always like a bad side to it. Like if they wouldn't have reached out to him at all, he'd be on here, you know. They didn't even reach out to me because it's just Destiny's friends. They didn't even reach out to me because it's just a big slush fund for all of his friends.
This is a stupid argument.
Like no matter what, it always fits the I don't know what you would call this. The ideology, the demagoguery, the agenda, like, it's so stupid.
Like even if I'm aligned ostensibly with the goals that you're trying to push for here, it just doesn't make any sense.
On YouTube, Hachi, just like my friend here, who moved into doing pro-genocide propaganda for Israel, received a generous $2,000 payment from this PAC, despite the fact that he gets...
Wait, first of all, this is not the article that Taylor Lorenz wrote about. This is not the same group. This is a different...
Yeah, it literally has nothing to do with any of it. We just like to bring this up because we can dox everybody around me because it's epic. Would a regular dude get banned on Twitch for watching this dox video on stream? Who knows? With Hasan and Dan, they could never ban one or the other.
PAC.
They spend so much time coming in each other's assholes. Their DNA is intertwined at this point.
This is just a different PAC that I know more about because I noticed what was going on, what they were doing, and I thought, you know, this is suspicious.
You know
why? Why? The only thing that's suspicious. This is why I got pissed during the Wick drama. This is genuinely why I got pissed during the Wick drama. And I didn't know it was because PV was kind of hush. They were like, well, we're not going to tell you what to say in public. You can tell people as much about PV or as little about PV as you want. And so that was kind of like a weird vibe because, you know, I didn't know if like, should I talk about PV Spotlight? Should I talk about the canvassing operation? Should I talk about this kind of stuff? And there was this funky thing with like Twitch terms of service where you're not allowed to be paid to like make like political content or something like that. And so they weren't quote unquote paying us for the content. but they were paying us for like the meetings, the consultation, access to our content so they could clip it up and put it onto PV Spotlight. So I mean, like Chud Logic, when he has that criticism of, he's like, well, I feel like you're violating the spirit of the terms of service if you're not violating the terms of service explicitly. I can understand that criticism. But again, what's the moral injunction about this? What's the moral injunction about a bunch of small creators who probably got paid too much? I'll admit that. But small creators who got paid too much in order to come together for meetings so they could strategize about content and how to make the best talking points and how to debate and, you know, what's the hot news of the day and what's their perspective on this topic or that topic, to feed back into the admin, to feed back into PV. And PV, by the way, here's another thing. PV, I'm not even going to draw it, but PV had the ear of like the DNC because part of their funding came from the DNC and came from DC bigwigs. So all of our information, what we were feeling on the ground, was getting fed back to Washington, DC, where people who were quote unquote in the know were hearing our feedback. So again, like what's the effing problem? I hate this. I hate these people. This is why, if you were to say like, hey, Connor, can you ally yourselves with liberals? Sure. Absolutely. I object to Stephen's personal conduct, but as far as his political philosophy, I think it's preferable to fascism and I think it's preferable to communism, right? But can I side with socialists and communists who are crabs in a bucket, who are constantly ripping each other to shreds? Absolutely not. I despise these people. I despise Bad Empanada and I despise Hasan Piker as much as I despise Nick Fuentes. Razzle Smasher says, good morning, Connor. Good morning, chat. Connor, did you see the Pisco versus Prime Kai debate on Kamala? Prime was something not nice. 3 hours of him getting crushed while being smug about it. Well, isn't that the liberal lefty dynamic? Wowman542 says, unrelated, but go watch the trailer for Caught Stealing. It's a retelling of Snatch set in NYC with Jews, Puerto Ricans, and Russians having a gang war based. I've already seen it multiple times. I do like the main actor. Just Carpet 563 for $10. Thank you for the super chat, King. Fill the shelves. Thank you, buddy. Although like night models are like $100, so you know, don't expect $10 to cover it. Now, I do love you and thank you for the donation. So I'm not trying to be ungrateful. What I am trying to say though is that if you guys give me $10 when a night costs $150, I'm going to buy groceries before I buy a plastic toy. Okay. Babalu says, AI still hallucinates. You can be sure what it is quoting. It makes stuff up from time. Sure. Casey from Long Island says, hot take from the Democrat Party isn't even that bad. It's a broad coalition, so there's something for everybody to dislike, but also stuff for everybody to like if we were allowed to admit it. True. Deus Halcyon says, effing missed you, bud. I missed you too, man. I missed hanging out with you guys. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like the stream, effers true. Quick show time before we move on. Like the stream, share it with your friends, engage in chat. Super chats if you got them, memberships if you got them. My parasocial love you. Thank you for being here. You all have 3,000 IQ and your Giga Chads and your Giga Stacies. So thank you. All right. Anyways.
Noticed what was going on? What you turned on one stream ever? I like how he's acting like he's some like detective dipshit over here, like the king investigator uncovered when I turned on Dusty's stream, I saw PV branded event. Like, what investigations are you doing? Hello?
It's like 20 viewers and no one watches him or cares about what he says at all. Like, this is someone who actively, intentionally spreads narratives that cannot be justified in fact.
I covered Progressive Victory last year and didn't get much coverage. Brianna Wu said,
oh, Gremlo. It's the guy who's 5'2", who said he would beat me up at an event, who said he would assault me at an event. And by the way, didn't get in any trouble on Twitch. Crazy how that worked too. Sean DeBlack, that subhuman degenerate dip, also said he would. I think he said my whole family should die or whatever. And I think he said he would kill me if he saw me or whatever. Also didn't get in trouble. And Mike from PA, the guy who said he would punch me, even though I don't look anything like a couch, was making violent threats against me.
F-Bomb says, aren't you the guy that lied about being paid to be a consultant? Nope. You must be thinking of somebody else. I've been paid to be a consultant on 2 or 3 projects now. So you'd have to be more specific. And I'm pretty sure when anybody asked me about anything, I always said yes.
on Twitch, nothing happened. Absolute joke.
This up with Destiny with the express purpose of getting him a higher profile within the DNC and push progressive voices out, yourself included. Am I thinking of a different pack then? Because PV did reach out to me quite a bit.
Uh-oh.
I thought it was. I thought they did. I think they
F-Bomb says Connor he said he was paid to consult. That's a complete lie. No, I was paid to consult. What are you talking about?
wanted to work with me to like legitimize themselves to the best of their ability within the Democratic Party infrastructure to make themselves look like they got more motion than they actually do. Unless I'm thinking of a different pack.
F-Bomb says simp harder. You'll ban me because I'm accurate and that scares all of you. Well, you've gotten like 2 or 3 things wrong already, so no. Regressive victory. That's based. Bud 123. We cut ties with Connor for good reason. Regressive victory. That's what we should do. That would be based. Evan says you were dying last week, but in case you missed it, the leftists are already turning on Zoran. These leftist freaks, these anti-liberal losers are wholly allergic to actual politics. I agree. They're not interested in politics. They're interested in they're not interested in power. They're interested in critiquing power. That's I don't know if that's a actual Counterpoint quote or if she's quoting somebody else, but it's something that's so relevant. They don't want to, dude. Yeah, that's the right here. Okay, with Zico and Sanchez, she is crazy enough to want to set up all the college and university chapters. And she's crazy enough to want to create debate and whatever content with a creator who has enough clout and enough money and enough time and enough energy to help her energize the college and university chapters. She's crazy enough to do this, but lefties want to bitch about what she does because she's insufficiently ideologically pure for their goals, even though she's absolutely a progressive. And then same thing with the progressive victory structure. They want to act like PV paying Democrats, receiving funding from Democrats in order to work with Democrats. You can call these guys progressives. I think Xander Hall's probably the furthest left person. Lycan's pretty far left. Aaron's pretty far left. These people, you can say like, oh, well, they're paying these people, and what do they have to show for their administration skills? I don't know. I'm not their boss. What do these people have to show as far as content created or them getting a good bang for the buck? You know what's crazy about the bang for the buck? I have no idea how much money Josiah was getting paid, but if they helped Josiah have some level of stability while he was starting out of his starting out on his content, then Josiah is a monster right now. Do you understand that? Do you understand that? I respect Hutch. Hutch gets, I think I've seen him get between 700 and 1,000 live viewers during popular streams. I respect Lonerbox. I think Lonerbox gets between 500 and 1,000. These are perfectly respectable folks. Dylan Burns gets between a few hundred and 1,000. I don't know what his numbers are, but I think it waffles because he goes through geopolitical content and he goes through Ukrainian content, and not everybody is interested in that topic. That's not his fault. He's choosing, in my opinion, noble content of stuff that actually matters, and as a result, he has a reduced viewer base. So these guys, I respect the shit out of as far as their, not only are they worthy of consultation, they are intellectual. They're not powerhouses. They're intellectually astute, and they're talented, and I parasocially love them. Okay, Josiah is a monster, and then Hunter Avlon was a monster when he was a conservative talking piece, and then he's dealing with the fact that 95% of his audience abandoned him when he became left. So you can say like, oh, well, we wasted money on Xander Hall because he's a small streamer and nobody really cares that much about what he has to say. Okay, look at these other powerhouses. You can say, oh, Wick, he just runs panels for a few hundred live viewers. Okay, Wick facilitates these relationships. Wick helps these people glue together through creating content that brings these creators together. That's a valuable service. You could say he was overvalued with his consultative pay, but I don't know what he was paid for. And I don't know how much he was paid. I also don't care because I'm a capitalist. I don't get grimy I don't get mad when other people are making money for providing services to institutions. That's a leftist problem.
Guys chirping here don't have much motion, kids. Ooh. One more ring on their hand, buddy. You can do it.
I think it was PV though. I think it was Progressive Voice.
The pro-genocide Zionist narrative.
Progressive Voice is a channel, not a pack.
And that
Why does he keep f***ing up the name of the? Why is he actively or f***ing up the last word of Progressive Victory? He's actively activating this.
QQ says IRI was paid $2K a month. You are misremembering. I'm not. So we changed contracts, I think around December. So when Brianna left in January or February, and I think there was another contract change 6 months in, and some people stayed all the way through October, November, which I did. I stayed until the bitter end, but I think IRI jumped during a contract change. So he might have been getting paid for, I don't know, half of the time, 3/4 of the time. But eventually IRI said, I want to be more independent and I don't need the money, so I will leave. And I did think that's noble. I think that's noble. So I applaud him.
actively detrimental to building a platform for yourself. So you have to wonder, where's the incentive coming from? Why does he do it? Like, he doesn't make anywhere near enough money to do this shit full time, but he does it. He gets like 20.
Yeah, the other one is National Ground Game Pack. The other pack.
Oh, now you're going to hate on National Ground Game. Interesting. Please tell me what you have to say.
Doing the America tour, which also is like, again, decided to go with Destiny for some fucking weird reason. I don't know why.
I've been at, how many events have they done? It's just one event, right? I've only been at one of their events, right? And also, what is this? I don't know why they decided to go with Destiny. They were going with Dean and the Parker dude before. What do you mean? And then those guys.
Yeah, all the lefties and progressives have backstabbed National Ground Game repeatedly because they don't have spines.
He quit. What do you mean you don't know what happened? Why are you pretending like you have no idea? What?
Fashion 40 says, the stream is liked, waiting for the missus to be discharged from an operation. If I can like the stream, everyone else can. It's true. Like the stream, share it with your friends, engage with chat, super chats if you got them, memberships if you got them. My parasocial love you. Thank you for being here. And Fashion 40, thank you. Thank you for your constant vigilance. And I hope your wife is on the mend.
I wonder what happened there. I like how, does he just spend his whole life covering Israel, Palestine, and then anything related to me? Is that all Hasan stream is now? Jesus Christ.
That has a litany of different complications, but the National Ground Game Pack is the one that's funding the America tour. No, it's the same. They reached out to me too. They got a few real leftists, but I think it was always Destiny aligned. Yeah.
Oh, they reached out to Shonda Black as well? How the is this a Destiny slush fund if it's reaching out to people that made violent threats against me?
True, there's logical an issue here.
Didn't Progressive Victory do an event literally with Destiny, Vosh, and Emma Vigeland? Like, what?
I thought you knew more. No, I'm confusing different packs. I get reached out by like a bunch of different packs. Dummy, calm down.
Oh, do you see how fragile he is about his intelligence? It bothers him a lot. People think it doesn't, but it actually, he really wants to be taken seriously as like a deep political thinker. Like, it super bothers the fuck out of him that people, even his own audience, like realizes he's like kind of a himbo.
Isn't the pack owned by your uncle and was paying Wu to run it? No, that's I think that's a different one. That's a
the absolute hypocrisy and gall of this guy to care about people getting paid to do politics when he started his career at the Young Turks, a progressive media outlet that is only solvent through its like sponsors. I would love to look at the early seed funding of the Young Turks that allowed it to become a business, that allowed a budding Hasan Piker to have a media career. Holy shit, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about that until it was just said. Yeah, who cares? Like, dude, the Young Turks. Do you see me complaining about the Young Turks? I should complain, but do you see me getting like funding from their billionaire dad, from Hasan's billionaire dad, in order to start the Young Turks? Do you see me giving a crap about the fact that they work with corporations in order to fund the content? Do you think I care? I don't care. They're talking about politics from a perspective hopefully they earnestly believe. I don't care. Why would anybody care? What an annoying perspective.
Justice Democrats, I think.
The code says, I have a misperception of who Food Shops is. No, I don't. No, I don't. I watched her channel 2 years ago, and she was unrepentant about Lolicon. She said, F you. I'm into this. Anybody who's moral frogging about it is an idiot. And I'm into it, and you can go pound sand. And she said that to me. She said that to Reservoir. So what do you want me to do? So you guys are saying, like, I got her all wrong. Okay, then she can disavow her previous perspectives. She can literally just get on, send me the clip, okay? Send me the clip of Food Shop saying, hi, Connor, I've heard your criticisms and I have not enjoyed them. I feel like you're burning me for positions that I no longer hold. I actually completely disavow Lolicon. I think that hentai anime, is potentially degenerate, and that anybody who knowingly engages with content with minors and are satisfying sexual urges with it, I think it's a bad behavior. Go ahead. Give me the clip. If I watch the clip and she disavows it and she moves on, totally fine. But if she doesn't disavow it, then I'm assuming that she's just hiding her power level. So yeah, there you go.
But in any case, yeah, also this structure is designed to shelter, to hide the nefarious activities.
The 527 registered political action committees whose FEC filings have to all be made publicly as you sit here and you dox every single person in my orbit was done to hide all of it. Like, it doesn't even, it's like not even.
Yeah, you're reading the public records of the dark money organization. What an idiot.
Consistent through a single sentence. What the?
Sorry, this is important, though. I need to address this. AK Badasoy says, pondering politics, I'd probably say will become the most popular liberal politics guy. I agree with you that he'll be the most popular. He's going to break 1 million subs. He's going to, he's going to have a gold plaque. He's still going to get tens of millions of views per month. He's going to get at minimum millions of views per month, which is already respectable. He's going to make a decent income, effectively being a Democratic propagandist. But can he debate? Right? And I think that Josiah can debate. I think Josiah can have heated conversations, but he's a nice guy. And so, like, I don't know if that's where his temperament is best suited. So would Josiah traveling to college campuses in order to energize new Democratic chapters, would that really be something that, number one, he would be interested in? But I should text him. I actually probably will. But would he be willing to travel? Because he has to keep up with his content schedule as well. His content schedule is brutal. He does like 3 to 5 videos per day. Genuinely, his content schedule is actually like, I know he suffers from some anxiety from it. I suffer from anxiety on his behalf. I think his pedal is to the floor at all times. But he's hustling and he's making cash. So, good for him. But the question is, can he be that guy? And I don't know if that fits his temperament.
What are we talking about?
Chatters or Rebellion Pack. Sorry, there's another one.
Matter of fact, Pisco, in my opinion, would be more of that guy. But Pisco needs a little bit more seasoning and a little bit more clout. As soon as Pisco crosses 100K, which, by the way, I think he's doing really well. I think he'll cross that threshold eventually. But if Pisco breaks like 1,000 live viewers consistently, and if he gets 100K subs off of his content, then I think he'll do just fine. These are going to grow, right? Like 2K, 5K, 18K, 6K, 3.5, 7, 6, 4, 7, 37, 12, 7. These are going to grow. These are going to grow for sure. So yeah. So Pisco could be that guy. I need to use the restroom. I'm going to let this play. I'll be right back.
That's the Rebellion Pack. Justice Democrats.
Wow.
Is the
SharePoint's time.
So shielded. Wow. So shielded. Thank you.
Wolfpack is another one that's like specifically designed to combat lobbying. Wolfpack is different. Those are not like those are not in the same vein here. Okay, Rebellion Pack is the one that Brianna Wu was on. In any case, the Progressive Victory Fund was, I believe, created by Brianna Wu and Destiny and a couple other people.
You can find it in the filings. It wasn't it. I wish I could remember the name of the guy. I don't remember his name anymore. He was the guy who was on the call with us in the thing. Was Brianna Wu? I don't think she was a creator either, was she? I'm definitely not a creator. Unless somebody forged my name on some documents. Can't you literally just look up who made Progressive Victory PAC? Like, won't the shit be on all the filings? It's the Sam guy. Treasurer. There's his name. Statement of organization. We have the custodian of records. Full name, not me. Full name of treasurer, not me. Banks, not my bank, not my address. But crazy how my name is absent, and I don't know if Brianna Wu is on here in any place either. Crazy how my name's not on any of these papers, but somehow I'm the founder and Brianna Wu is. He's literally just he's webbing. He's just trying to get it all together. Like, oh, like here's bad people. I'm surprised he's not saying like Hitler was like a founding member or some shit. Jesus.
And they wanted to basically design it in a way where they could get, like, you know, Destiny and his orbiters and his supporters a more prominent place within the structure, within the ecosystem of the DNC, within the ecosystem of the Democratic Party. And Democrats, due to their incompetence, I think, not because they did their due diligence, mind you, but due to their straightforward incompetence and lack of interest in like independent media farming, just didn't do that. It clearly didn't work, right? Which in this circumstance, I guess, kind of helped them.
Oh, I think he's mad about the CNN video views. This guy can't pull shit for views outside of his view-botted monopoly-owned platform here, where Jeff Bezos, or not Bezos, well, I guess Bezos by extension. Sounds like cool enough for Bezos to cover for him, where Clancy's carved out a little lefty monopoly for him.
Because this would have probably blown up in their faces even harder. Yeah, PV had a shadow investor along with Brianna Wu. The origins of the funding aren't clear, but there's a reason these losers are able to go around the country while having the combined audience of one of your gaming streams.
PV had a shadow investor. It's a PAC. Doesn't it have to? Isn't this a 527? Isn't this how this is organized? How can it have a shadow investor? Am I wrong? Is this a C4? About this committee. It says hybrid PAC. So my guess is that the Progressive Victory thing is
Spending this much time focusing on her seems cringe. Giving her more coverage seems counterproductive. Spending this much time focusing on her seems cringe. Giving her more coverage seems counterproductive. Well, I mean, like, I'm not doing that. I'm saying what I think, half-assed in random streams. I don't think I've covered any food shops content. And I understand food shops might be serving a role in the ecosystem of JStock and Queeman are A-logging. Well, let's be real, it's JStock. JStock is A-logging Steven, and Queeman's being mean, which hurts a lot of people's feelings, including mine. He's hurt my feelings. But so what's the problem, right? If Food Shops does the exact same thing to them that they're doing to Steven, where she A-logs the A-loggers, you know what I'm saying? What's the problem? And I understand that Steven's saying that that is useful because it's not enough to have people who are neutral. I'm neutral on Steven, which I understand is frustrating for a lot of people, but I criticize his bad behaviors and I praise his good behaviors and his good traits. So I just call balls and strikes as I see them. Whereas I think Food Shops is unreservedly pro Steven. So, you know, what he's saying is that it normalizes rhetoric that allows his audience to do pro Steven reputational arguments. And I just don't really offer those. I say Steven's a flawed character who has these good attributes, who has engaged in this bad behavior that's indisputed, and his critics are correct to criticize him. They're not correct to prey on his death and downfall, right? Kakode says, have you thought about having a genuine discussion with Food Shops to see where she actually stands on things? Nope. If she wants to talk, we can talk. I don't care. It's a 30-second conversation. Is this good behavior, bad behavior, or neutral behavior? If you say it's neutral behavior, similar to Steven, I think you're wrong. And I think you're dumb, but I'm not going to like freak out, I guess. Whereas if you say it's good behavior or it's acceptable, then you can go fuck yourself. You know what I'm saying? Also, Connor, being a billionaire and only to give on $1 million seems cheap as fuck. True. I was just saying, like, if I had so much money that I didn't give a shit, I would absolutely give them a shitload of cash. AK about a says, did we ever find out where PV was being funded by? I think people hated PV because no one would talk about who was fronting the money. I have no idea, bro. I have no idea, bro. And I don't care. I don't care. Colombian drug money. Don't give a shit. Bud123 says, as long as Connor has health insurance, he is good. Thank you, Obama. True. All right. Anyways.
It's a 527, and then they have
yes,
probably a C4 partner.
Yes, sorry. Join my new pack, Reactionary Victory. We have no platform. We're just really mad. Yes. That's a pack I can get behind.
So I guess if you're going to say the C4 partner is the dark money part. I wonder who's the shadow investor. Bro, if PV had a shadow investor, why the did I ever have to fundraise for a door knocking? I did a fundraiser with my community to raise $60,000. Why would I do that if they had a shadow investor this whole time? Well, me, I guess.
James, no offense, gaming frogs rise up. Your FEC report just says you gave a couple grand to Bernie in 2020, lol. Yes. I believe it also has $1 that was given to Kirsten Cinema. I don't even know, or not Kirsten Cinema, Kirsten Gillibrand. I don't know why. It must have been a meme on the stream. I don't remember.
Where's the money coming from? Here's the answer. He's paid to do it. This is someone who has justified the genocide on the basis that Palestinian birth rates are too high. He's justified the bombing of hospitals and the children.
Is he talking about me, or is he talking about, I don't even know who he's talking about right now. Who knows?
Within them. Why does he do it? This is the answer. And just to be clear here, I'm not saying this is the only payment they're getting. They're certainly getting more than this. It's just...
QQ says IRI left because he took a job with Occupied Dems that paid more. Interesting. I have no idea about the details. Achito says, Connor, there's zero evidence the PACs are being criticized for not being ideologically pure enough. You can't think for yourself, so you got to go to Destiny program with the low IQ talking points. No, Achito. Aren't you a fucking drama streamer too, Achito? Aren't you a drama streamer? So what's the problem, Achito? Because I can articulate this perfectly. I even made you a beautiful drawing. So Xander Hall, Sock Dem lefty, Wick, Democrat, Hunter Avalone, progressive, former conservative, me, never Trump Republican, Lycan, vague lefty, Josiah, liberal progressive, Hutch, liberal, Lonerbox, progressive, Dylan Burns, progressive, gay. I'm fucking around. I don't give a shit that Dylan's gay. Dylan's like genuinely my brother. He's one of the people that I would be Dylan. I am Dylan Burns's friend. I would be Dylan Burns's friend in any life that I met Dylan Burns. I would be Dylan Burns's friend. But anyways, so they're saying that Dylan Burns is a war tourist, Ukraine shill who doesn't care about Gaza. He's insufficiently ideologically pure on Gaza. He says Lonerbox does IDF apologia and he's a genocidal freak, even though Lonerbox actually, in my opinion, describes the conflict in the most accurate terms possible. Hutch is mildly pro-Zionist. So like, okay, and problem? Lycan is 100% pro-Palestine. Josiah is probably some level of neutral. Xander Hall's probably pure Palestine. Wick is probably in the middle somewhere. Hunter Avalone is probably pro-Palestine, if I had to guess. Straighteraid is one of the most pro-Palestine people that I think I've ever heard argue about the topic. Pixie's probably neutral. Kyla's probably slightly pro-Zionist. So you're saying, like, they're not being criticized for being insufficiently ideologically pure. That's just a Destiny talking point. Meanwhile, what's actually going on is they're saying, why is Progressive Victory working with more centristy Dems who don't agree with us, using dark money in order to do shit? Meanwhile, the actual organizational structure is PV got money from who? I don't give a fuck, as long as, you know, as long as it's legal and they're disclosing it and they're paying their taxes, I don't care, right? Then they're paying Kyla, Straighteraid, and Pixie to do admin for smaller creators, which I agree is a waste of time and money. Realistically, I would probably axe the creator program unless it was an incubator program like Chorus, where what you're trying to do is you're trying to give people who have talent a shot so they can make it full time. That's how I would run any kind of creator program. And then for Destiny and Vosh, they never took money. So who gives a shit? Of course it's about ideology. A Cheeto. You drama whore. You whore for drama, showing up in my chat, trying to one guy me successfully. Anyways.
To the extent that the payment could be laundered through official means, this is like the way that you can find it.
Launder? Bro, it's 2025. That was 2024. All of us are relatively tech smart. Why wouldn't we just do crypto?
Cheeto says you're lying to hate Hasan. What? Number one, what lie? Number two, yeah, I hate Hasan. Problem? You don't hate Hasan? Are you stupid?
Why the fuck would we launder money through an FEC filing obligated business?
Actually, you're so stupid, Cheeto. You're so stupid. I did the opposite.
Like, let me launder money through one of the more regulated entities.
I have eaten foliage says, Food Shops only brings this up because you keep talking about it. Okay, disavow the position. Disavow the position. It's that easy. Bibliolife says, whoa, now this is a no hentai zone? Well, I would never tell an 8-foot man what he's allowed to do. Bibliolife is 8 feet tall. He's actually the mountain. So he can do whatever he wants to do because he could kill me with his bare hands. Can we please stop this project of trying to rehabilitate the public profile of a pedophile? Food Shops deserves every scrap of criticism she gets. Yeah, I don't know what this is. I don't know why they're doing. Destiny called into Food Shops again last night. Yeah, like what does he need if he needs a friend, he can call me. He can call me. What? Just call me. You don't need to call her. What are you doing? Yeah. Webtoon Enjoyer says, why don't you join Food Shops to debate her about it? Because I don't give a shit. She can disavow it or she can not disavow it. I'm not going to debate her on the finer points of it. Kylo says PV didn't publish the stuff on purpose. Lol. Why would you publish it? Why would you publish it? If you have public FEC filings and you know that there's sensitive information for people who want to keep their anonymity on it, and so it's public and publicly available, why would you publish it? Why would you dox the people you work with? What the fuck are you talking about? Are you guys stupid? I think you guys are stupid. I have eaten folio says, moving on and disavowing are different things. She has moved on. Is this going to be a 30-year campaign until old and gray when it's not part of content? Yeah. Yep. You're right. Moving on and disavowing are different things. And I'm asking her to disavow. You're right. $5 from ET says, that is a very red beard, Connor. I appreciate how you subject yourself to all the toxicity. Thanks. I'm a second generation Central Floridian raised in a Apopka. Based. I'm in, I'm south of you. That's cool though. That's cool. All right.
In the United States, like how stupid.
Certainly they're getting paid in other ways besides this. You know,
Also, why does he keep saying that?
there's no requirement for those payments to be made public.
What are you talking about? I'm pretty sure everything
Yeah, aren't you just reviewing public documents?
that the Progressive Victory entity pays out has to be filed somewhere.
These ones we only know about because they have to be made public legally. Who else have we got here aside from, loaner box?
Ooh. Bud123 says, I got a mild case of acute pericarditis from my chest workout last week. Is it from working out too hard or lack of rest between the workouts? Chest, triceps, back, biceps, shoulders, and legs day. Yeah, bro, take it easier. I don't know which one it is, but either way, you take it easier. Pericarditis, correct me if I'm wrong. That's like inflammation of the heart. Take it easy. If your blood pressure is spiking, if you do like a blood draw and they're saying that you have like a really high hormone or whatever, you need to ask your doctor. Don't ask me. I'll give you the best advice possible, but you can't keep working out if you're dead. So if you got pericarditis, then slow down. Last Stand says, I'm super behind in the VOD. I thought the issue with Rob using AI is that he tried to play off the AI summary. You never criticize his doxing. Cheeto, I criticize his doxing to his fucking face. We hung out for 8 hours that day. You guys are stupid. You have bad arguments. You suck. Would you debate Manor reports? Dude, I'll talk to anybody if they send me a DM and they're not an asshole.
Hunter Avalon. Who's that? Is that anyone we know?
Ah,
Yeah, look them up. See if you can find their YouTube and TikTok and Instagram to dox them too. Nice.
Is that? Oh my God! Is that Xander Hall?
There you go. Nice.
Is that Xander Hall? I
Nice.
think that's Xander
That's
Hall.
fake. That's not a real person. Don't lie. That's like a meme. That's a meme name that we came up with, like xylitol.
I've added it to. I am doing the.
Hold on, this is so stupid. Sorry, guys. I'm going to piss off the DGG Sims now as I'm being accused of being a DGG sweeper. Paint. Steven, I don't know if he got botted or whatever, but he's pretty big, right? It's like 250,000 post-recorded views. Let's do text. Steven. So let's write this down. So Steven has he's getting civil sued for sharing homemade pornography that was then leaked. He's been accused of audio recording sex interactions without consent. Not proven. No criminal case being pursued that we know of. And he's being accused of interacting, of sexting a girl who claimed to be 19, but was actually, was allegedly 17.5, who created and disseminated illegal content for which she would be in as much trouble as him if a prosecution goes forward. And technically, based off of statute, she would be as liable as it is. Well, all this reputational shit is already out there. Okay, this has already happened. The damage from this being known to the broader public is done. So if Steven has worse behaviors that have not come out, and I've talked to the man. I talked to the man very recently. He's saying that this is as bad as it is. But of course, I don't know that. Maybe Steven just doesn't want to lose me as a friend or orbiter or whatever. And so he's just telling me that there's nothing worse. Like everything's already out there. So I'll just put worse stuff ? Then you have Queeman and you have JStock. Let's go ahead and do this. Who are drama shitters. Here we go. Queeman. JStock. You get the point. But anyways, what do they get? Like Queeman gets 500, which is respectable, by the way. I'm not hating. He gets 500 live viewers. JStock gets between 500 and 1,000, so I'll just put 1,000. And Steven gets what, like between 5 to 10K? Like he had a recent drop off where I've seen him bouncing between like 6 and 10. But truth be told, man, like I'm not gonna lie, like research streams aren't that sexy for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I watch debates sometimes on stream, and I watch drama. I don't watch Steven reading Wikipedia for 8 hours. You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't be surprised if a sizable amount of his audience doesn't watch that either. So 1,000. So you are, and then Steven's argument is that he has to attack back because he's constantly being accused of these things, and it's being used to drag down his public reputation to the point that he's taking reputational damage that's affecting the way that he operates. It's affecting his professional relationships. It's affecting his personal relationships. His family's being harassed, all that kind of stuff. So Hasan. And so Stephen's argument, from my perspective, is that what Hasan gets, what is it, 20K to 30K live? So his argument is that on occasion, the information from J-Stock and Queeman bubbles up to Hasan or Ethan Klein or other people. And so this community of A-log hating dipshits effectively document every single one of Stephen's sins and then bubbles it up to larger creators with which to do reputational damage to Stephen. So it's only Stephen's job, in his opinion, because he doesn't believe in the Christian morality. He doesn't believe in turning the other cheek. He doesn't believe in excuse me. Let's put her at like 500, just because I know, like, I've seen her keep a 700 person raid from Stephen, which is crazy, by the way. So congratulations in that regard. But Stephen is saying that he needs food shops to put pressure on these people so they stop attacking him, but they're not going to. They're not going to attack him. If anything, they're going to using food shops as a weapon against them as justification for continuing the campaign. So you know what you do? You don't do any more of this shit. Okay? You go through the civil case, you defend yourself in civil trial, you say why Pixie was wrong to get upset about whatever happened, which I'm not going to agree with, but you can share that with your audience when the trial is over. You can stop interacting with people under the age of 21 in general because they're not emotionally mature. You can stop interacting with people who don't send you IDs, which, Stephen told me, like, yeah, I'm not interacting with anybody who I can't verify their age or whatever. I'm going to be super careful, blah, 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 blah. But you just stop doing all that shit. And so as a result, if you say, hey, yeah, 5 years ago, I was doing some crazy shit. I fucked around. I had to go through a civil litigation. I was accused of criminal behavior, but nothing really happened as a result of it. And I've cleaned up my act since then. And I'm not really engaged in that kind of behavior anymore. What can these people do? They can't do anything if you're not behaving poorly. So don't behave poorly and you won't have this problem. I understand that we disagree on what poor behavior is, but what are they going to attack you with? If you eliminate the thing with which they attack you, then what are they going to attack you with? You don't need food shops to do this. Just stop doing the stupid shit. I've said this to him in person. I think our last podcast appearance together, he was like, I love you, because he says that to everybody, right? And I was like, I love you too. Stop doing stupid shit. I'm serious about that. Stop doing stupid shit. Stop going after Doobie. Why are you going after Doobie? Doobie, as far as I know, is a fucking civilian. Maybe he's playing cute. Maybe he's some nefarious, manipulative overlord. But as far as I know, he's a civilian. Why are you going after Doobie? Doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Unless you believe in that eye for an eye. Stephen, eye for an eye. Bullshit. I think it's very dumb. I think it's a waste of time. I think it's a waste of energy. I think that... Where you heading? All right, have fun. I think that if Stephen cleaned up his act and stopped being such a psycho and promised not to, hook up with a bunch of college girls while he's on his college tour, and he just went and was a professional, and then he could be the debate creator that National Ground Game needs in order to energize its college franchises. But when you're like, no, I have to protect my reputation from 1,000 shitters on the internet who occasionally bubble up my bad behavior to large streamers who use it as a weapon to reputationally destroy me. Well, stop engaging in bad behavior. Boom, problem solved. Seriously. And he'll say that he has, but I'm saying, who gives a fuck? 1,000 shitters hate you on the internet. Who cares? Who cares? Fuck them. Prove them wrong by being a good person.
The Hasan family thing. We'll look all of his people up. I'm just curious what's going on with that origin. I want to know who was affording the horseback riding lessons. Okay, I'll add that. That's on the agenda now. Okay.
Stop it. Stop. You're with me. Nah. That's like, xylitol, talk shit about you, bro. You ain't even know about xylitol. He just gave you a blistering critique, like that type of shit. Like that sounds like a medication. That's a medication, dog. Do not make this shit up. Why is Bad Empanada up to the same tricks that I've been up to? He's just making up names. Oh my God, it's Xanderhole.
I love how long ago is this? I know this is like an upload. So what was this, 4 or 5 days ago at the most? And now he wants to ban all Bad Empanada mentions on his stream. Look at how happy he is. This is literally Cersei and the Sparrows, right? Like, Jesus Christ. Talk about making your own bed. It's actually unreal, dude. Oh, August 27th. Oh, so 5 days ago, he was this excited to have Bad Empanada on his stream, doxing every single person.
It's that they paid Xanderhall 2,000.
That sounds like Xanderhall is no, I don't believe. I refuse to believe it. I refuse to believe that is a real thing. Xanderhall is a drug Trump would call the fat drug. ain't no fucking way. Xylitol is an artificial sweetener that has laxative effects. I know what it is. I just like say that as a joke. That has laxative. Xylitol is an artificial sweetener that has laxative effects. I know what it is. I just like say that as a joke.
He's so insecure. Oh my God. He's so insecure. No. I was just saying it's a joke. I was like, even if I imagine he was making a joke, but he's so insecure. Oh my God.
D has now moved to Unfuck America. I like that he is, his goal is to basically.
Officer Nasty says, I feel like the issue with your criticisms and disavow is at the end of the day, it's followed with no action. If an alcoholic friend was crashing his car repeatedly, would you help him buy a new one? No, but I'd help him buy one with a breathalyzer for the ignition key, right? I worked restaurant industry, guys. So I have 4 friends with DUIs, and realistically, I should have gotten a DUI once or twice. So if I had a friend who had a DUI and crashed his car repeatedly, yeah, of course, I'm not lending him $20,000 in order to, get a car and then just hand him the keys and be like, haha, have fun. But I might be like, oh man, you fucked up your family, you fucked up your friends, you fucked up your life by being a rabid alcoholic. Maybe you should stop being an alcoholic. And they're like, well, I'm such an alcoholic that I switched from liquor to beer. Then I'd be like, okay, that's not cool. That's still super stupid. You should probably just quit. And they'll be like, yeah, well, I got to drink the beer in order to stave off the shakes from the liquor. Then I'll be like, okay. And then they'll be like, I need to work or else my house is going to get repossessed. My car is going to get repossessed and my house will get foreclosed on. If you give me $100, I can buy a car because that's all I got to give. Then I'll be like, okay, I'll get you a $100 car, but you have to have the breathalyzer thing in it where you're like, if you don't breathe into it properly, you can't drive the car. Absolutely. I've had a friend who had to go through that, and it was a nightmare.
Every PAC that exists within the structure of the Democratic Party.
Like, I never even worked with PV. There's a reason why my name isn't on any of the filings. My name is not
because he didn't take any of the payment.
I didn't move from one to another. I never was paid by Progressive Victory. I promoted their canvassing events because there's something I supported. I fundraised for them with my community.
PSA leftists are not on our team. They're just as bad as MAGA.
True.
If you're a person that takes winning elections seriously, then stop engaging with their content. They think it's a game, and it's not a game. Winning the midterms is serious and needs to stay our central focus. Why are you promoting the teenagers. Our organization takes any allegation of this nature extremely seriously. At the same time, we believe it's important to uphold the principle that every individual is entitled to due process. At this stage, no evidence has been presented that substantiates these claims. Until and unless credible evidence is brought forward, we will not be making decisions based on solely unverified allegations. No, you don't understand.
Well, Doobie has to chat with me through DMs because Christian Blair has killed Doobie. But basically, yeah, I mean, I agree. I think the Live and Learn crew, my beef with the Live and Learn crew is a different beef. So my beef with the Live and Learn crew is that they're too cozy with fucking leftoids. Like the Vanguard's been totally popping off. Total a-holes over the past. Like they've been making hay out of the progressive victory. I don't know if they've done the PB thing, but they've been making hay out of the chorus thing. So I think they're total counterproductive young arslers. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So Doobie was basically saying maybe the Live and Learn crew or Pisco or Josiah would actually be better people who would have less skeletons in their closet. And I think that's true. I think maybe, now that I'm thinking creatively about the problem, maybe Josiah and Pisco and the Live and Learn crew could be the people who are like the creators who go around to the colleges and they're like the creator faces of National Ground Game and they're the friendly people. And then maybe Steven could do like guest appearances where just like, you know, providing that he's behaving well. Where he's kind of like coming in to throw elbows and stuff. And the reason why I bring that up is because I think you need the spice. Now, maybe I'm dumb, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm overestimating the requirement for the spice, but I kind of think that you need a Hasan Piker or a Vosh or a Destiny, or I'm trying to think of somebody spicy, like a Nick Fuentes or something like that. You might need a character like that in order to spice up the debate events. So maybe like Steven could be the heel of the show. And the Live and Learn guys could be the actual anchor. So that would be, if I could like snap a reality into existence in which it was my job to make National Ground Game succeed, it would probably be Josiah and Pisco being the representatives of National Ground Game who do the college tour and who are kind of the face of it. And then I would bring in Steven every now and then as like the heel. That's how I'd do it.
We need this. Like he's brilliant.
He's brilliant. He's so insecure. He could just like listen to audiobooks at the gym or whatever. No, if you wanted to learn a little bit more, he could.
Well, TS Phantom brings up an interesting point. Sorry for pausing again, but he says the problem is misinformation. The anti-community is always talk and make stuff up. Destiny hits back against Ethan and stop the attacks immediately, so strategy isn't completely terrible. I mean, I agree that the best defense is a good offense. I mean, I agree with that conceptually. And maybe I'm just playing a different game. I don't know. Maybe I don't. The way that I manage my reputation is just by behaving like a sane 40-year-old adult. I don't know. Crazy concept. But maybe that's part of the reason why I'm not as infamous, is because I'm a sane, almost sane 40-year-old adult. But you did bring up that he went on the offensive with Ethan and it was largely effective. I agree. I
just don't know why he gives a shit all about it. Like clearly he doesn't care. It's not like a priority in his life.
We need this. Like he's brilliant. You know what's really funny about this? Like,
tell us what's funny.
If this person,
don't worry, we're gonna wrap it up. This is Zico and Sanchez, by the way. This is the person who's running National Ground Game.
Destiny was like unironically like a brilliant fundraiser, a brilliant marketer, like truly a voice that was making an impact in this space, with the exception of like, I guess, making an impact for some of the most brain broken.
Fashion 40 says, Connor, he already behaved poorly. It's too late now. They are attacking him with things from 2 to 3 years ago. Also, I definitely understand your point and I agree, but he obviously feels otherwise. Sure, but I'm right and he's wrong. And if he wants to be a part of I'm not a power broker. I don't have the opportunity. But in my opinion, if National Ground Game wants to be a national brand similar to Turning Points USA, I don't think that if Steven doesn't like totally disavow and distance himself from previous behavior, and accept some level of responsibility, I don't know if they can take a risk on him. Now, maybe they'll take a risk anyways and just say, hey, we want spicy debates. We want spicy events. We don't give a shit that Steven's like this, morally questionable character. We're just going to roll the dice and see where it lands. And if they do that, then, God bless them. And I'll support them to a degree in having the stones to make moves. However, what I would say is it's obviously a risk. It's obviously a risk.
Liberals who just think he is like the holy prophet, okay? Then it's up, but at least it's like cold and calculated for like some kind of broader grand reason, right? But he don't even have that either. It's just all liability with no upside.
Okay.
Officer Nasty says, in this case, what's the breathalyzer you're giving to Steve? But I don't know. What aspect of Steven's behavior can I control? I can give him feedback. I can give him criticism. I can tell him what I think. But what else? What else can I do? He's a multi-millionaire political pundit. What can I do? I never said he did. I'm asking Connor about his principles. Well, what principle is being betrayed? Officer Nasty. That's like one of the things. It's like don't associate with bad people, or don't associate with people who are engaged in bad behavior. If I followed that advice, I wouldn't talk to anyone. I think you're all assholes. I'm just kidding. I love you. Death Louis says that's cringe. Just say you want to criticize Connor. Every one of your speds constantly asks that when he's explained himself 1,000 times. I don't agree. I don't agree that he's explained himself 1,000 times. I think his level of explanation is, this is a civil court case. This stuff is all alleged. Pixie doesn't have like a real case here. She's being an a-hole. I'm not the one who leaked it. She also engaged in reckless behavior that resulted in the leak, so she shares some of the culpability. I don't agree with you that he's owned it. So, and maybe he feels that way. I don't know. I don't give a shit. But I think that if you want other people to come on board, then you have to own it. He can live his life however the fuck he wants to live. All I can do is give him advice. So, yeah.
And that's what always takes me back to like the whether I will respect a political action committee or not,
whether or not they've had anything to do with me ever.
Yeah, guys, leave Officer Nasty alone. I agree with Officer Nasty. You guys can criticize. No, Officer Nasty, you can absolutely chat, and I'm gonna tell chat to chill the fuck out. Listen, you guys, he's right, you're wrong. Okay. If he has a criticism, he should be able to bring it in chat. That's not a problem. That's not a problem at all. Matter of fact, I think you're too heavy-handed with Doobie right now. I get it. Doobie, let's be real. We all think he's a little stupid on Israel-Palestine. We think his Red Sea crisis his Red Sea crisis perspective is fucking stupid as shit. Sorry, Doobie. I think it's stupid as shit. But we should have some level of pushback where either further left people or further right people are capable of coming in here with their complaints. Because the truth is, they're going to have their complaints either way. They either have their complaints here, at which point I engage with their complaints and their criticisms as best I can. And they say, oh, okay, Connor's actually like a reasonable human being who's tried to engage with me. Even though we disagree on this topic, I'm going to stay in the community and I'm going to be an active member of it. Or they say, well, that was an insufficient answer. Connor's a fucking asshole. Fuck him and fuck his chat. Right? There's no need. I appreciate the tribal mentality. Like, obviously, I want my tribe. I want the COG. I want the community of grill hottists. I want the coalition of grill hottists. I want that. But I don't want you guys to be so defensive that you end up scaring away otherwise reasonable people. We can disagree on what reasonable is, but also pushing back on chatters is part of the content. So, yeah. Yeah. Officer Nasty is perfectly fine. Leave Officer Nasty alone.
That's the litmus test for you. That's how threatened he is.
They're making good decisions or not. Because when I see them just like doing this, I'm like, okay, it's clear that you're not fully aware of what works.
Oh, not like Hasan. He's aware of what he knows how to be politically effective. Okay.
Yeah, what has Hasan done again? Like, he's done a bunch of fundraisers that have made a shitload of cash. I need to point out that that's his audience's cash. But, you know, that's great. Good for him. Doing charity. Good for you for doing charity fundraisers. What else have you done?
If you're actively working with a person who is just all liability with zero upsides whatsoever, then you're not a serious group. You know what I mean? You're not. You're just...
Yeah, tell us more as you watch straight Bad Empanada videos on stream for him to dox everybody. Do that more.
What is this? Xanderthal hates you because you called his friend a Nazi without verifying when you were reacting to his video?
Melody says, ask Destiny for the evidence. He clearly said he has info on Doobie, but you don't want to. No, I already asked him for the evidence, but the evidence is that Doobie is hanging out in JStock and Queeman's Discord and talking shit about Steven to people. Is that enough to get doxxed? Is not liking Steven and being kind of like, yeah, you have to understand, okay? Doobie, in my opinion, is kind of a power broker, and he's not. And the way that he's a power broker is, as far as I know, he runs I don't know if he still runs it, but he runs the politics Discord, which is it used to be one of the biggest politics Discords in, I think, the Twitch and YouTube political community. I think it has thousands upon thousands of members. And they have Nazis and communists and dissident right-wing freaks and lolicons, and they have everybody in there, right? And they're all fighting all the time. And so as a result, he's pretty tuned in to Twitch and YouTube politics. And I don't think he has any command of the Discord, but he's very in tune. And I think he's like a information broker. He's like a Varys. He's a master of whisperers, right? And so he's had his finger in DGG. He's had his little birds. His little birds have been in DGG and VGG and Hasan's community and everybody's community. So generally speaking, he has a decent picture of what's going on. And so his perspective is that Steven's bad behavior is bad enough that he deserves the flack that he's getting. And he might be feeding information that reinforces JStock's and Queeman's perspective. And I think JStock and Queeman are taking it too far. But is that sufficient to get doxxed? Being a master of whisperers in the Twitch and YouTube political game? I mean, like, I don't give a shit. Like y'all do you, but I think like doxing's... The reason why doxing is too far is because you're sharing somebody's name and address, and you're hoping that you're scaring that person by sharing their name and address, and you're hoping that other people find that name and address, and then they find the person's social media, they find the person's extended family social media. You hope that they harass that person's extended family, friends, and professional network as a result, and then you also hope that somebody sends death threats to them. That's why you dox somebody, right? This is why Hasan's such a fucking piece of shit. So you're hoping that they get harassment by exposing their public and private information, which is why it's fucking bad, right? Steven's saying this is tit for tat, but I think that Doobie has given him a tit, and Steven is trying to give Doobie a tat. It's not reciprocal, in my opinion.
Again, no way! It's Xanderhall! No way! There's no way you're paying Xanderhall for advertising services. Holy, this makes it so obvious that this is just like a grift for Destiny to get people on his side, defending him from the sex crime allegations and like spreading Zionist propaganda. Because
sorry, I'm getting called, but it's not the wife. Haterade says, I'm 15 minutes behind, but turning the other cheek doesn't work when the ops want to destroy you. Jesus turned the other cheek and was crucified. We didn't turn the other cheek on World War II or 9/11. Do you seriously think that a fight about a streamer's reputation is the same as 9/11 or World War II? Do you seriously think that if Steven says, yeah, I did some cringe shit in the past, but I'm not doing cringe shit anymore, go fuck yourselves? Seriously, you understand that's like a perfectly viable strat. The strat is like, yeah, I did some shitty things. I'm paying some consequences. I'm not going to get into the details. I don't do that stuff anymore. Go fuck yourself. That's a perfectly valid defense, because then what are you giving Queeman? What are you giving J-Stock? You're not giving them any additional information with which to make hay. And so as a result, this 3-year-old transgression will be the last thing they have. You don't give them an additional fuel for their fire. So you don't give the fuel to Queeman and J-Stock, who in turn can't give anything to Hasan. So, yeah. Officer Nasty says, I thought Connor had a principle against elevating and propagating voices that can harm people unless they repent, try to fix it, acknowledge the problem. Just wanted to see if that still mapped on, since everybody said I needed to state my question that it was specifically. I don't think that I can I think at this size, 120 viewers, I don't think I have the capacity or power to prop up anyone. No offense, guys. I seriously, quick shill, by the way. Like the stream, share it with your friends, engage in chat, super chats if you got them, memberships if you got them. And I appreciate you for being here. But I don't think, as a 120 live viewer, like, listen, I'm proud of this community. I love this community. I love what we're building. I hope that it becomes bigger. I hope that within the next year, we're a 500 to 1,000 member community. I hope we make a shitload of cash. I hope that we can be the change that we want to see in the Twitch and YouTube political world. However, I think if I said, Destiny's a bad guy, he needs to be destroyed, I think that would have no effect. If I said, Destiny's a good guy, he needs to be propped up, I think that would have no effect. I think it actually does not matter what I think. I'm trying to appeal to Steven in person, because what Steven says and does is infinitely more influential than what I say and do. And I'm trying to use my influence to influence Steven. And I'm trying to use my influence to influence my own community. But that's all I'm capable of. So, yeah. Sagers knows this. To be fair to the mods, chat has been pretty ass since the dick watching arc. It's easy to find the gray band line when 90% of the arguments in chat are bad faith anti-fans. I mean, I guess, but just play nice. Play nice. He's fingering DGG. Yeah. Fisting. Oh, that's funny. Melody says, if that's the case, sure, I don't agree. But if I was getting attacked by J-Stock in his community, I would probably attack that. Focusing on the notable characters, I don't care if you're attacking me. I know that. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Let's address this real quick, and then realistically, let's wrap and let's talk to chat, and then let's move into the next segment. But realistically, like, Steven can get, when he goes live, it's 12:12. He goes live around 2 p.m. He's going to get 5,000 to 10,000 live viewers. That's already a respectable amount of viewers. That's already a respectable income. So if he just focuses on politics and grinding politics and working with National Ground Game, there's no problem. What's the problem? If Steven goons exclusively with 21-year-olds plus and verifies the IDs of every person that he goons with, and then keeps consensual messages with the people with whom he goons, and then he says, this is stupid shit and I shouldn't have done it. Well, he doesn't even have to admit that. He could just say, yeah, I did some stupid shit in the past. I don't want to talk about it. I've suffered some legal consequences. Some of it was valid. Most of it wasn't. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I want to move on. How is that not a viable strategy? Doobie, Doobie says, that's not true. The evidence he posted on Twitter was me and Wix server and Pisco server criticizing Steven when he came up over the course of like 2 months. I had never even spoken to J-Stock before he made those accusations against me. He started this nonsense after I agreed with Pisco over you and him on the kick lefties out thing. I've been hanging out in his stream and in his Discord server for months, by the way. Totally willing to talk to you about this on stream, by the way. Yeah, Doobie, we can talk at some point. I mean, if you want to talk now, you can just DM me. But yeah, I don't think it's proportional, or I haven't seen evidence for why it's proportional. So anyways,
that guy, I hadn't even published my shit yet when this was going on. Does time mean anything to this guy? This reporting was done, and the payment was done on what, July 10th of 2024? Was I reading the future? I planned all of this in advance.
Like, all of Destiny's favorites are on here. All the people who are mysteriously quiet about
Sean the Black, the funniest lore is that she only ran to Destiny after racism allegations of her own, causing Dean Withers to drop.
All right, Evan brings up an excellent point. 120 geniuses, but only 70 likes as I type this. Super mega geniuses, those who like the stream, became a super mega genius. I agree with Evan. if you're having liking's free, by the way. It's what makes us relevant in the algorithm is people engaging with the chat. So more people see us and more people want to come in. So like the stream, please. Share it with your friends. If you have a good time hanging out in my chat and you actually like the content that I produce, then tell other people. Say, oh, I'm hanging out on this Discord and I'm hanging out with Destiny people and I'm hanging out with Vosh people and I'm hanging out with, PF Young people. And realistically, I think they should be watching Connor. He's a better content creator. Tell other people about it. Then, if you have money burning a hole in your pocket, do super chats or do memberships. It's greatly appreciated. Fashion 40 says payment for not playing too nice with Officer Nasty 70. All right, listen. We'll find the balance. Maybe I'm tired. Okay, maybe I'm sensitive. All right. Did you guys know that I almost died last week? Did you guys know that I pooped blood for like 3 days? That was part of the intro when we had like 60 people, 70 people. So I almost died last week. So maybe I'm just being sensitive, but you guys should play nice. Melody says, Connor, it's hard to focus when your family members and people around you are getting attacked by psychos online over me sharing videos that got leaked by a girl lying about her age. Yeah, sure. Sure. I understand Steven's position. I just don't think that he has the right prescription. Grassroots20 says, Steven should repent by gooning to a bunch of old people. That is this is how we restore karmic balance. Steven can only hook up with 50-year-old plus ladies. He has to call Martha Stewart immediately. Dr. Quinn. Oh my God. He can only date this woman. He can only date this woman and Martha Stewart and Pamela Anderson. This is who Steven is allowed to date until he averages out the ages. That was horrible. I disavow. Very funny, though. Very funny.
Drop out of the tour's top spot.
Oh.
Ay, bro. Brother. Yo, I got haters I didn't even know existed. I got haters that I'm just like fucking making jokes about. Progressive Victory supported Zoran, though.
Yeah, that's a most inaccurate survey. Officer Nasty says the answer from Connor without changing any morals would be he messed up, but he isn't in a spot to change yet, but I'm going to stick by him and try to help him see the light and change. Yeah, that's unironically it. So is that self-serving to a degree? Yeah, it's probably self-serving to be friends with a millionaire who's clouded up in an industry that you want to be a part of. But is it also self-defeating in a way in which a lot of people are just saying like, oh, you won't destroy your professional associate / friendly acquaintance / friend of the past 5 years because he's done something bad. You're a piece of shit. Fuck you. And I hate you. So it's not the most convenient. A lot of people think that it's like this like super convenient, cushy position. It's actually not. It's quite uncomfortable. But I've been called worse by better a lot. So don't you worry your pretty little face about me. I'll be fine. Anyways, so let's just watch this last little part about Dean Withers and then let's wrap the segment.
Oh no, that's why I said like,
don't worry, we have more content.
They're not singularly focused on the reason why they also try to work with me is because they want to gain legitimacy. You can't just only be a slush fund for a debate pervert with a questionable background. Then obviously everyone's gonna be like, what the fuck are you doing? You have to be a legitimate force in order to gain prominence within the Democratic Party's infrastructure. It's
like Hasan has. Oh, okay. You don't want to be a debate pervert. By the way, guys, check me out. I'm debating Charlie Kirk at Dartmouth, guys, by the way.
Sheen, Keck. Guy Cohen was a pretty fly for a white guy actor. Does I'm really important now. He says he is
Is he just typing names in chat? They're so good. I love it. I love that it's just all. At least it's all in the open, I guess. So I don't look so schizo. Jesus Christ.
Anyways, I think you guys understand my position, so I'll summarize my position real quick, which is that look at my beautiful red beard. I told my chat they donated, and I used some red wax in order to get a blood red beard, which I actually like. I like it a lot. I don't know if I did the hair too, if that would look good, or if it looks good as it currently is. Honestly, I like it though. But anyways, in summary, Hasan, dumbass, piece of shit, eat a bunch of dicks. Hasan Piker, terrible person. PvE, did nothing wrong. They actually have a really good idea, and just because it wasn't successful out the gate, and just because they misallocated funds when they were trying to figure out how to do it, nobody else has done this, guys. Nobody else has taken alt media energy and transferred it into the real world. And there's going to be mistakes the first time that you do it. I'm sure that Steven would tell you that his canvassing operations, the first ones that he did by himself, were a mess. I'm sure that PV would tell you that some of the canvassing operations actually went really well. I remember those events being quite well organized. But I think they'll tell you that, like, yeah, the creator program was a mess and we weren't able to create the content that we thought we were going to create. We weren't able to get a foothold in social media the way that we wanted to get a foothold in social media. It happens, right? You try projects and they fail. And I respect people who try and fail infinitely more than I respect the people who don't do shit from the side. So, yeah. So, PV, probably cringe now, but they were trying to do a base thing in 2024. Steven, kind of cringe now, but he did try to do a base thing in 2024. Me, always trying to do the most correct thing that I possibly can and failing all the time. I'm sure Steven's going live soon. So have fun and apply water directly to the butt. Yes, I'll do that. All right. Bye, guys.